A complete game by a complete team. MarkRogersTV, the voice of college football, on Ohio State's demolition of the Badgers of Wisconsin 38-7. Please like, comment, share the videos, and subscribe right here at MarkRogersTV, the voice of college football, where we deliver the best in discussion, debate, and analysis each and every day. All right, Ohio State with a 14-point favorite status coming into the game, and many of us, including myself, I thought, okay, Ohio State wins this game, and they win by a couple scores, but 14 points, that's a bit much. Wisconsin will come in determined, focused, laser-focused, and of course, they're always gritty. They're always technically sound, fundamentally sound, especially on defense in the front seven. The offensive line's great. They've got maybe the best running back in college football. Jack Cohn's developing as a quarterback. I just thought that they would have enough to hang with the Buckeyes. Ohio State athleticism and skill and talent and speed would win out, but that Wisconsin would give it a good fight. They did not after halftime. Buckeyes, again, 38-7. It was 10-0 at half. And really the only part of this game in which there would be any concern after the 3-hour game at the Shoe would be maybe some pass blocking by Ohio State's offensive line against Wisconsin's defense. The Wisconsin pass rush brought the blitz at times, but was able to get there with 4 rushers against a very mobile quarterback in Justin Fields, who could have been sacked probably another 5 times, but he was sacked 5 times on the day. So Wisconsin got to Justin Fields, especially in the first half, and limited the scoring. There were a lot of 3-and-outs, and the Ohio State defense, this is the difference in this team this year. It's not a talent difference. It's basically the same players, and if anything, they missed their best player from last year in Draymond Jones coming into this season and lost a few other key parts in the secondary. But Ohio State is just so airtight on defense, it's remarkable. Jonathan Taylor, 20 carries for 52 yards. So Jonathan Taylor at his worst game, 52 yards rushing on 20 carries since, Ohio State in the 2017 Big Ten Championship held him to 41 yards. That's what Ohio State's MO has been on defense and facing Wisconsin running games over the past decade. Limit the top running back, Melvin Gordon, Monte Ball, Jonathan Taylor, all those guys. They've limited those guys, bottled them up, and taken their chances one-on-one on the outside with superior defensive back play against Wisconsin wide receivers. Wisconsin did make the one big scoring play to start out the second half to give them some life. So the Buckeyes led it 10-0 at the half based on great defense again. And then Justin Fields making some plays with his legs. And of course, J.K. Dobbins was sensational in this game. Ohio State came out early running the football. 11 consecutive runs to start the game. J.K. Dobbins would eventually get loose, 20 carries for $163 and 2 touchdowns in this game. And then it was Chris Olave with the touchdown reception to make it 10-0 at the break. That was a play on a 3rd and 13 play. This is how explosive the Buckeyes are. Sound Wisconsin defense, 3rd and 13 at the Wisconsin 27. And Justin Fields splits defenders, finds Chris Olave for the touchdown, and it's 10-0 after another good sign for the Buckeyes to open the scoring. Blake Haubeil, their kicker, hit from 49 yards in a driving rain. It pretty much was a driving rain from the start of the game, which, in knowing the forecast, that seemed to play into Wisconsin's favor, but it didn't. Ohio State is that good. Usually the rain and those kind of conditions limits the speed game, which of course was the Ohio State advantage in this one. But the Buckeyes still had plenty of speed to take on Wisconsin and give them a thumping. So 10-0 at half as the Buckeyes started on the ground, then started to let Justin Fields break, contain, and do some different things. But 5 sacks by the Badgers, and again, that was the only, if you're looking for a place where the Buckeyes could improve, at least against Wisconsin, pass blocking, as Justin Fields avoided probably another 5 sacks and was thrown down for a loss 5 different times. 10-0, and the Badgers had their one shot at getting into the game early second half. So the Buckeyes went 3-and-out, and Drew Chrisman had an awful punt. Shanked a punt. I understand that somebody got their hand on it, but it just didn't look like it to me. I saw a couple replays, but officially it was a blocked punt. but it looked to be an awful punt regardless. Wisconsin took over at the Ohio State 30, and Jack Cohn made his one tremendous pass of the day. He threw a dime between a couple defenders right over the top to A.J. Taylor, and despite Ohio State dominance for most of the first half, the Buckeyes only led at 10-7. Then after that, the rout was on. Chris Olave had a couple crossing routes a la the Michigan game. This one for 22 yards after the Wisconsin score, and it was mostly the Justin Fields and J.K. Dobbins show, back-to-back plays. They went with the RPO look, and Justin Fields finished it off with the touchdown to make it 17-7. Both Justin Fields and Chris Olave, stars of the game, had to be taken to the medical tent on the sideline due to lower back issues. We saw the first time it crop up for Justin Fields when he scored the touchdown to make it 17-7. He was upended in the end zone, landed on his back, and then it was tweaked a little bit later. He made a really good run, actually, in picking up a first down. He had to spin off a defender. He got flipped, landed on his back again, and you saw him wincing in pain. Fortunately for Ohio State, with the way the game was going at that point, the way the defense was playing, and J.K. Dobbins' speed, and the offense was clicking, and of course the defense was phenomenal. They were in good shape at that point. J.K., the speed, the strength, stiff-arming guys, Wisconsin defenders staying in bounds on a 33-yard run, throwing down two would-be tacklers on that particular run. That led to a J.K. Dobbins touchdown to make it 24-7. And the other guy that we have to mention was the best player on the field. So if the Heisman Trophy goes to the best player in college football, then at this point in the season, through 2/3 of the season, I know that there's an argument here because he can't compile the kind of stats that we're used to seeing out of Heisman contenders: touchdown passes, touchdown runs, yardage. But just to watch the game of football and see Chase Young dominate, he is the best at his position by the largest gap. 4 sacks today to tie a school record, 5 tackles for loss, 2 forced fumbles. Chase Young was amazing in this one, and he's probably the best player in college football. He's not going to win the Heisman, but he's just a game wrecker. That's who he is. That's what he does. He's a game wrecker on what might be the best defense in college football. Master Teague came in for J.K. Dobbins and finished with 76 yards on 13 carries. The Buckeyes were just remarkable in this game. Fields to Olave again in the corner to make it 38-7. Wisconsin is a good team. I don't know if they're top 10 good, but they are a legitimate, I believe, top 15 team in the nation. I'm not going to disregard, based on what they did against Illinois or failed to do, of what they did against Michigan and what they've done against everybody else. Michigan State 38-0. They dominated everyone. And Ohio State just clubbed them. 431 yards to 191. Wisconsin only converted 2 third downs. Ohio State was 9 for 14 against that defense converting third downs. And again, the Ohio State defense is just such a renaissance that it has just made this a different team this year. For as good as they were last year, and I mean college football playoff worthy good, they're that much better this year. Ohio State, Maryland next at the shoe. Buckeyes at 8-0. Of course, you wouldn't necessarily consider it payback against Maryland, but man, they struggled in College Park last year in avoiding the upset 52-51 in overtime. For Wisconsin, they're 6-2. They got to get off the mat. And because of the scheduling situation, it's going to be difficult for them to do so. Consider that even if they beat Minnesota head-to-head, the Gophers are still undefeated. So they need 2 Minnesota losses, including the head-to-head against Wisconsin. But before that happens, the Badgers have a difficult assignment in getting off the deck with 2 consecutive losses as they go to Iowa next week to take on the Hawkeyes, who beat up on Northwestern today 20-0. My thoughts about the Buckeyes are that they're playing better than anybody in the country. I will not rank them number 1 right now because I go by the resume. But they are playing better football than anyone in college football right now through 8 games. They still have difficult tests against Penn State. And look out, look at Michigan and what they did tonight against Notre Dame. Would love to get your thoughts on the Buckeyes and the Badgers in the Big Ten race, both divisions, right here at Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football.